Hi, I'm Representative jt-wilcox, and I'm coming to you today from the floor of the House. We should be coming down to the home stretch of a long 105-day session, and as part of that, it's time for budget work. Now, I really have two main jobs in the legislature. First, I'm floor leader for the House Republicans, and so my job is to help craft the debate from the opposition point of view, which is very interesting this year because we're not very far in the opposition. There's 51 Democrats in the House and 47 Republicans, so most things, if they're going to be successful, need to be bipartisan. I'm also assistant ranking on House Appropriations, and that is where we do most of the budget work. And so we are waiting to see what kind of a budget the majority party brings out. It's the tradition that the House and Senate take turns bringing budgets out first, and this year it's the House's turn. It often is a fairly partisan document over here in the House. In the past, the Senate has been quite successful at bringing out bipartisan budgets that appeal to both sides. That's not the tradition here in the House. There's a couple of things that we're quite interested in. First of all, as many of you have heard, we have about $3 billion in additional revenues coming in this biennium. That's nearly a 10% raise, and most households, people, and businesses would be very happy to have a 10% raise over 2 years. However, you are hearing over and over and over that there's not enough money in the state of Washington and that there is a strong need to raise taxes. Well, I don't agree. Our job is to take the dollars that you, the taxpayers, send our way and do our absolute best with those dollars and make sure that taxes are the last resort instead of the first resort. So I don't believe that we do need new revenue. However, here are the options that are being considered by the majority party. There's three. A capital gains tax that would raise about $1 billion, a cap and tax scheme where they charge a list of the largest companies that are involved in using carbon, mostly refineries and utilities, and raise over $1 billion a year from that charge. Well, we all know that those dollars go straight down to the bottom line, and in fact, if it's a utility, they're required to pass those costs on down to the ratepayers. And in a hearing last week, the governor's staff was clear. This is a regressive tax. It will raise the cost of fuel by about 10 cents a gallon and will also raise all other utility rates. So I'm not in favor of that. I think we can do it without the additional $1 billion. Another option that you hear over and over and over is we should close loopholes. Well, I've done some research on loopholes, and the story's different than what you hear. There's been many bills passed over the last 10 years that change tax rates and do tax incentives, and if you don't like them, you call them tax loopholes. And often the other side tries to blame those on House Republicans. Well, the truth is the opposite. Over the last 10 years, 84% of all the tax incentive bills have been prime sponsored by the majority party and only 16% by the Republican Party. So over those years, there were strong Democratic majorities. They thought that those were a great idea then. They ended almost none of them, and now that they lack the power, they're trying to make it look like the minority party has been responsible for all these. That's not true. I believe in looking carefully at tax code and making sure that it's fair, and in general, the proposals that we're seeing right now are anything but progressive. In fact, they're regressive, and even the governor's staff has admitted that his cap and tax carbon scheme falls most heavily on the least fortunate among us. So I go right back to my basic philosophy. We've got $3 billion in additional revenue. We can make a budget that relies on those dollars. We don't need new carbon or capital gain schemes to raise more money. Thank you for watching my weekly video updates. Please feel free to call my office using the number on the screen or email me.